learners, welcome to the MOOC course Philosophical Foundations of Education. The video title is Relevance of Pragmatism in Education. Learners, we have already discussed a lot about the pragmatic philosophy, pragmatism and its principles, and influences of pragmatism in education we have already discussed. Then all those discussions we have an idea how pragmatism has its influence on education. Now our discussion part will be the relevance of pragmatism in the field of education. Pragmatism as a philosophical movement had a profound and lasting impact on modern education. Rooted in the works of thinkers such as John Dewey, William James, and Sir Sanders Peirce, pragmatism emphasizes experience, experimentation, and practical consequences as central to learning. This approach has transformed traditional education system by promoting student-centered learning, critical thinking, and real-world problem solving. So this is very important things about the modern education system. So, some impact of pragmatism in modern education, how it has its relevance in our modern education system or present education system. It's a very important topic of discussion while we are discussing or while we are studying about pragmatic philosophy. So first of all, the theoretical foundation of pragmatism in education. Pragmatism asserts that knowledge is not static but evolves through interactions with the environment, and it emphasizes experience as the basis of learning. Learners acquire knowledge by engaging with their surroundings and reflecting on their experiences. Democracy in education. Education should be inclusive, promoting equal opportunities for students of diverse backgrounds. Then, problem-solving approach. Learning should focus on practical applications rather than rote memorization. Then, flexibility and adaptability. Curricula should be dynamic, changing to meet societal and technological advancement. So, the theoretical foundations of education, pragmatism has asserts all these points, and through which while we are implementing all these points such as democracy in education, problem solving approach, flexibility and adaptability in the field of curriculum, then we will get something a better result in realizing the aims and objectives of education. So John Dewey, one of the leading proponents of pragmatism in education, argued that school should function as microcosms of society, so preparing students for active participation in democratic life. Then another point here we have to mention that shift from traditional to progressive education. So while discussing about relevance of pragmatism in the field of education, this is one of the important things is that it has the contribution, the education system for which it has been shifted from the traditional system to the progressive education system. So before pragmatism, education was largely authoritarian, with an emphasis on passive learning and rigid curricula. So pragmatism introduced some new things in the field of education. So what are the new things that pragmatism has introduced? First of all, student-centered learning. Already I have discussed about these while we were discussing about the principles of pragmatism in the field of education. First of all, student-centered learning. Unlike traditional teacher-centered methods, pragmatism prioritizes the interests and needs of students, which is very sound from the psychological point of view also, because psychology itself has suggested that education should be based on the interest as well as needs of each and every student, and each and every student should get the opportunity to utilize their talents, their needs, their interest in the platform of education. Then experiential learning. Hands-on activities, projects, and fieldwork allow students to apply theoretical concepts of real-life situation. This is very important topic that we have to be concerned as a teachers. Then collaborative learning. Collaborative learning refers here that group discussion, teamwork, and peer learning encourage social development as well as cooperation in the mind of the students. So this is very important to grow a healthy attitude in the social situation in the children in their developmental process. Then flexible curriculum. Unlike rigid, standardized education, pragmatism promotes a curriculum that evolves based on students' needs and societal demands, because every educational institution has to reflect the demand, the need, the expectation of the society. Therefore, to meet all those or to meet up all those expectations of the individual of the society, educational institution has to be flexible, and educational institution has to focus to adopt the curriculum which is flexible, which can be changed from time to time. And these changes have led to the emergence of progressive education models that emphasize inquiry-based learning, creativity, as well as innovations. So these are the main important things that has to be incorporated to the education system to make it progressive, which is the result of the influence of our pragmatic philosophy. Then, another important point here we have to discuss emphasis on critical thinking and problem solving. So what it refers? Pragmatism fosters analytical reasoning, inquiry, as well as reflection. In modern education, this is evident in some fields. What are the fields? First of all, project-based learning. Students engage in projects that require investigation, creativity, and real-world application. Then next, case-based learning. What is case-based learning refers? It is used in the fields such as law and business. Students analyze real-life cases to develop critical thinking skills. Inquiry-based learning. It encourages students to ask questions, conduct research, and draw conclusions independently. So, inquiry-based learning should be implemented in the field of education according to the or depending on the age group of each and every students. Then STEM education. What is STEM? The pragmatic approach aligns with the S for science, T for technology, E engineering, and M mathematics, which is called STEM or STEM, where learning is based on experimentation and problem solving. These methods ensures that students become independent thinkers who can analyze situations and make informed decisions. So, this project-based learning, case-based learning, inquiry-based learning and STEM education is implemented already in the education system, which emphasize on critical thinking and problem-solving abilities of the students. And then the role of the teacher in pragmatic education. While we are discussing about the relevance of pragmatism in the field of education, we cannot leave the part which is teacher has to do. So, teacher's role has shifted from being a mere dispenser of knowledge to a facilitator and guide. So, what are the duties teacher has to perform? First of all, encouraging inquiry. Teachers create an environment where students ask questions and seek answers independently. Teacher has to give some problems in front of the students so that they can discover or innovate the ideas themselves to sort out the problems. After that, providing real-world context. Education is linked to contemporary issues, making learning more relevant. And then, facilitating active learning. Teachers use interactive methods such as debates, group discussion, and hands-on experiments to the students, because it is not the time for the students only to sit in the classroom or hear passively the lectures that are delivered by the teachers. Now it's not the time. This traditional method is replaced, and our education system has get a new era, some new innovations, new emerging technique has been included in the field of education. So facilitating active learning, activity-based learning, or the students should get the opportunity to be active in the classroom situation, then the realization of aims and objectives will be possible. After that, assessing learning through applications. Instead of rote memorization test, students are assessed through presentations, projects, and problem-solving exercises. This transformation makes learning more and more engaging and meaningful for the students. So, these are the relevance that we can say that pragmatic has in the field of education. Then number 5, influence on educational policies and reforms. Government and educational institutions have integrated pragmatic principles into policies and reforms such as competency-based education, CBE in short we can say, focuses on skill acquisition rather than just theoretical knowledge. This is very important. Then lifelong learning. It encourages continuous education beyond formal schooling, recognizing that knowledge evolves because new knowledge, new information has emerged in every second. So, lifelong learning should be the concept that everybody should have nowadays. So, it means the continuous education beyond the four walls of the educational institution, because knowledge evolves and we have to capture all those knowledge for our betterment of the society. Then, integration of technology in learning. Digital learning tools, virtual labs, and online courses align with the pragmatic ideals of adaptability and innovations. Because in the days of technology, in the days of science and information, how can we keep the education system far away from them? Integration, the technology with the education system will give more result, more accessibility for the people. And community and service based learning. It encourages students to apply knowledge in the community project and social service. So these reforms, such kind of reforms, ensures that education remains relevant and responsive to the social needs. So education not only for the development of intellectual needs of the individual, but along with the intellectual development, education has to give the social development. So how education will give social development in community and service based learning? When we will get in the educational platform, it will definitely help to fulfill the social needs along with our individual needs through the education system. Then, impact on higher education and professional training. Pragmatism has influenced higher education by shaping curricula and teaching methodologies in fields such as medicine and healthcare. Problem-based learning and critical training focus on real-world application. Business and management. Case studies and simulations help students develop decision-making skills. Engineering and technology. Hands-on projects, coding boots camp, and industrial collaborations align with pragmatic principles. Teacher training. Educators are trained in student-centered methods and experiential learning. So higher education institutions now emphasize practical training, internship, and research-based learning to prepare students for the workforce. After that, another relevance of pragmatic philosophy in the field of education, in the field of modern education, is that challenges and criticism of pragmatism in education. Despite all those implementations or impact in the field of education, what are the benefits that we have already discussed? Despite all these benefits, pragmatism faces certain challenges also. So, what are the challenges? Number one, overemphasis on experience. Critics argue that too much focus on experience may lead a lack of foundational knowledge. Then implementation difficulties. Not all schools, I say, have the resources to adopt experiential learning and flexible curricula. In our scenario, if we see, except those private schools, highly payable private school, which have that high fee structure, and who those guardians or parents only afford such type of highly paid schools. But most of the people of our country like India, or if we see in the such type of situation in our state Assam, then we see that not all the parents can afford to give admission to their children to such type of highly paid schools. So they have to give admission their children to the government school, but some challenges are there, because in every schools there are not such sufficient resources to make the education experiential based, activity based, and it's not easy to make the curriculum change in every time. So these are some of the challenges that we may face while we are in the educational scenario. Then lack of structure. Some educators believe that excessive flexibility may lead to inconsistency in learning outcome. It's very right. Because from time to time it's necessary to change, but frequent changes or excessive flexibility, it may lead inconsistency in the education system. Then standardized testing versus pragmatism. Standardized assessment often conflict with the personalized learning approach of pragmatism. However, balancing pragmatism with other educational philosophies is crucial overcoming these challenges. Then, future of pragmatism in education. As education continues to evolve, pragmatism is likely to play an even greater role through artificial intelligence, which is known as AI, which is nowadays a popular concept among the people, and personalized learning, adaptive learning platforms that tailor content to individual student needs. Gamification and experiential digital learning, virtual reality and augmented reality will enhance hands-on learning experiences. Then, interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary approaches. Future education will integrate multiple fields of study to solve complex problems. Then greater focus on social and emotional learning. Developing soft skills such as communication, empathy and resilience will help, because I have already say about the challenges about pragmatism in education while implementing pragmatism in education, because despite of those challenges, we can take some steps to implement all those pragmatic philosophy in the process of education, so that we can get the benefits of it. We can grasp the benefits of it, and we can make the education process more effective, more efficient for our next generation. So, we can say that pragmatism has significantly influenced modern education by promoting experiential learning, critical thinking, flexibility, and real-world application. It has shifted the focus from role learning to a student-centered and problem-solving approach, making education more dynamic and relevant. While challenges exist, the principles of pragmatism continue to shape educational reforms, technological advancement, and professional training. As education systems evolve, the pragmatic philosophy will remain vital in preparing students for the complexities of the modern world. So, this is the relevance of pragmatism in the field of education. Now, we cannot left one part here while about the relevance of pragmatism in the education system or in the modern education system, that influence of pragmatic philosophy on national education policy 2020. What other influence has made on this newly emerging policy by the pragmatic philosophy? The National Education Policy 2020 of India reflects strong influences on the pragmatic philosophy, which emphasizes experiential learning, flexibility, critical thinking, and real-world application of knowledge. Rooted in the works of philosophers like John Dewey and William James, pragmatism in education advocates for learning by doing, adapting education to social needs, and ensuring students to acquire practical skills rather than just theoretical knowledge. NEP 2020 embraces these principles by shifting from the rote memorization to competency-based learning, promoting interdisciplinary education and integrating technology in learning So, I want to have some discussions on how pragmatism has shaped NEP 2020, because I think in the modern education, while we are saying about its relevance because it is the latest policy of education, and how pragmatic philosophy has its influence in this recent policy in the field of education. Number one, shift from rote learning to experiential learning. One of the most significant impact on pragmatism on NEP 2020 is the move away from rote memorization towards experiential learning, because this policy emphasizes learning by doing, practical and hands-on experiences in science, arts and vocational subjects, activity-based and inquiry-based learning, which encouraging students to ask questions, explore solutions and evolve or develop reasoning skill. Then internships and vocational training. Students are provided with internships and hands-on training from an early age to apply classroom knowledge in real-life situations. This pragmatic approach ensures that education is meaningful and relevant to students' lives, preparing them for real-life challenges. Then, multidisciplinary and flexible curriculum. Pragmatism promotes flexibility and adaptability in education, which is reflected in NEP 2020, through choice-based learning, students can choose subjects across different disciplines rather than being restricted to rigid streams. Then multiple entry and exit options. Higher education allows students to leave with a certificate, diploma or degree at different stages, making learning more adaptable to individual needs. Then interdisciplinary education, encouraging students to study diverse subjects, fostering holistic learning and critical thinking. By allowing students to design their learning, NEP 2020 ensures education is dynamic and suited to evolving career landscape in line with pragmatist ideals. Then critical thinking and problem-solving focus. Pragmatist philosophy believes that education should help students to analyze, reason, and solve real-world problems. NEP 2020 fosters these approaches through competency-based education, where assessment will evaluate students' ability to apply knowledge rather than just recall facts. Project-based learning. Students engage in real-world project, case studies and collaborative problem-solving exercises. Integration of 21st century skills. The curriculum includes creative thinking, analytical reasoning, digital literacy, and innovation to prepare students for the future. By prioritizing critical thinking over memorization, NEP 2020 aligns with pragmatism's vision of education as a tool for problem solving. Then skill-based and vocational education. A major tenet of pragmatic philosophy is that education should be useful and applicable to real-life situations. NEP 2020 embraces this by vocational training from an early age, internship and apprenticeship, then emphasis on lifelong learning, where promoting continuous learning and upskilling to keep up with technological and industrial advancement. This real-world application of knowledge ensures that students are job-ready and adaptable to evolving work environments, reflecting pragmatic educational principles. Then another important thing that I should mention here, integration of technology in education. Pragmatism supports innovation and adaptation to changing social needs, which is reflected in NEP 2020's focus on technology-driven education. Digital classroom, online learning, artificial intelligence and emerging technologies, blended learning approach by this embraces technological advancements ensuring students acquire future-ready skills and essential aspects of pragmatic philosophy. Next, assessment reform, holistic and continuous evaluation. Traditional assessment methods in India focused on high-stakes board exams, leading to stress and rote learning among the students. So NEP 2020 introduces pragmatic evaluation methods, which are formative assessments, holistic report cards, self and peer assessment. So these shift from memorization based exam to contemporary based assessments ensures students to develop practical skills and deep understanding reasoning with the pragmatist ideals. Then another one, emphasis on democratic and inclusive education. Pragmatism emphasizes education as a tool for democracy and inclusivity, which is evident in NEP 2020 because NEP 2020 prescribed universal access to quality education, which is aiming for 100% gross enrollment ratio for pre-primary to secondary level, education for all, multilingual education, and by ensuring education is accessible and democratic, this policy aligns with pragmatism's goal of preparing individuals for active participation in society. Then, most important things we cannot leave out from this discussion, that teacher training and professional development. Pragmatism emphasizes that teachers should be facilitators of learning rather than mere transmitters of information. So this focused modern pedagogical training, technology integration, then continuous professional development by empowering teachers. NEP 2020 ensures a progressive, interactive as well as practical learning environment, then reflecting pragmatic educational philosophy. Then also it also give on research and innovation in higher education. These reforms make higher education more dynamic, more flexible, more innovative, and embodying pragmatism's focus on real world knowledge. Then we can say that from all this discussion, we can say that NEP 2020 is deeply influenced by pragmatic philosophy, which prioritizes experiential learning, critical thinking, flexibility, and real-world problem solving by shifting from rote learning to contemporary-based education, integrating technology, emphasizing vocational training, and fostering inclusive education. It ensures that students develop practical skills and adaptability to modern challenges. The students-centered, skill-oriented, and research-driven approach of NEP 2020 makes it a landmark reform that aligns with pragmatism's core principles. As India moves towards an innovative and knowledge-driven economy, NEP 2020 ensures that education remains relevant, dynamic, and future-ready. Thank you.